All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Sarabjit Kaur and with me is V. Ravi Kumar. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to virtually address the 21st meeting of SCO Council of Heads of State. Quad Leaders Summit to be held in Washington on the 24th of this month. Prime Minister Modi to take part in the first in-person event. Prime Minister Narendra Modi turns 71 today. Various programs organized across the country to mark the occasion. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to chair 45th meeting of the GST Council at 11 this morning in Lucknow. President Ramnath Kovind to address special session of Himachal Pradesh Legislative Assembly in Shimla today to mark the Golden Jubilee of statehood. Nagaland's first software technology park of India to be inaugurated today. Heavy rains lash Uttar Pradesh. Government orders closure of educational institutions today and tomorrow. 6 districts put on flood alert in Odisha. Many rivers including Mahanadi are in spate due to heavy rainfall across the state. And Hyderabad Liberation Day is being observed today to mark the historic accession of princely state of Hyderabad into India. As the nationwide free COVID-19 vaccination campaign at government facilities for those above 18 years is underway, we advise our young listeners to get vaccinated and also help others get vaccinated. We also advise our listeners not to lower their guard as COVID-19 remains a threat to our health. Please stay at home unless it is essential to go out and continue to follow these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact National Helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. The 21st meeting of SCO Council of Heads of State will take place in Dushanbe, Tajikistan today in a hybrid format. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lead the Indian delegation and address the plenary session of the summit virtually. At Dushanbe, India will be represented by External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar. More details from our correspondent.
This is the first SCO summit being held in a hybrid format and the 4th summit that India will participate as a full-fledged member of SCO. This summit assumes significance as the organization is celebrating its 20th anniversary this year. At the summit, the leaders are expected to review the organization's activities over the past 2 decades and discuss the state and prospects of future cooperation. Topical issues of regional and international importance are also expected to be discussed. The SCO summit will be attended by the leaders of the SCO member states, observer states, Secretary General of the SCO, Executive Directors of the SCO Regional Anti-Terrorist Structure RATS, President of Turkmenistan and other invited guests. Anupam Mishra, AR News, Delhi.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar met Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi yesterday on the sidelines of the SCO summit in Dushanbe. The 2 ministers exchanged views on the current situation along the LAC in eastern Ladakh as well as on global developments. The External Affairs Minister noted that since their last meeting on 14 July, the 2 sides had made some progress in the resolution of the remaining issues along the LAC in eastern Ladakh and had completed the disengagement in Gogra area. However, there were still some outstanding issues that need to be resolved. In this context, Dr. Jaishankar recalled that Foreign Minister Wang Yi had in their last meeting noted that the bilateral relations were at a low ebb. Both sides had agreed that a prolongation of the existing situation was not in the interest of the either side as it was impacting the relationship in a negative manner. The External Affairs Minister therefore emphasized that the 2 sides should work towards early resolution of the remaining issues along the LAC in eastern Ladakh while fully abiding by bilateral agreements and protocols. He underlined that it is necessary to ensure progress in resolution of remaining issues so as to restore peace and tranquility along the LAC in eastern Ladakh, noting that peace and tranquility in the border areas has been an essential basis for progress in the bilateral relations. The two ministers also exchanged views on the recent global developments. The External Affairs Minister conveyed that India had never subscribed to any clash of civilizations theory. He said that India and China had to deal with each other on merits and establish a relationship based on mutual respect. The two ministers agreed to remain in touch.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will participate in the first in-person Quad Leaders Summit in Washington on 24th of this month. Briefing media in New Delhi last evening, External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said, while in Washington, the Prime Minister will also have a bilateral meeting with the US President Joe Biden. He said, on the 25th of this month, the Prime Minister will address the general debate of the UN General Assembly at its 76th session. The spokesperson said, bilateral meetings with other Quad leaders as well as bilateral meetings with some other leaders is expected while the Prime Minister is in New York on the 25th of September. The spokesperson said having become a full member in 2017, India remains committed to playing a positive and constructive role at the SCO. On Operation Devi Shakti, the spokesperson said, until and unless operations resume at Kabul airport, it will be difficult to say how people will be evacuated. He added, New Delhi is watching it so that the remaining Indians and Afghans willing to come can be brought to India. On reports of a missing Indian in Afghanistan, he said the Ministry of External Affairs has seen a missing persons report, a reported Indian national Bansari Lal missing in Kabul. The spokesperson said, New Delhi is in touch with all concerned. He said, Government of India will continue to monitor the situation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi turns 71 today. It is also an occasion to celebrate the Prime Minister's 2 decades of service and dedication for good governance as Chief Minister and Prime Minister. During these 20 years, Prime Minister Modi has left his indelible mark on the lives of crores of people through his relentless efforts to address fundamental problems facing the poor. All India Radio will present Prime Minister Modi's contribution to various sectors in the coming days. The day marks the journey of the man hailing from a humble background in Vadnagar in Gujarat, who has evolved into the great persona that he is today through his dedication and hard work. If one examines his career, it emerges that Jan Bhagidari or people's participation, use of technology and empowering people were the underlying themes all through. His 20 years are the story of a leader who has emerged from the grassroots. Prime Minister Modi is not a leader who was guided by any fixed theory. His governance model is unique because it emerged from his own experiences. From toilets to Mangalyaan, his canvas of initiatives is very vast.
करोड़ों दिलों में गूंज रही विशेष आवाज,
जिसका वैश्विक मंचों पर चल रहा जादू,
आम आदमी के दर्द से पिघलता है जो दिल,
जिनकी अगुवाई में बना टीकाकरण का रिकॉर्ड।
सुनिए प्रधानमंत्री के जीवन पर विशेष कार्यक्रम कर्मयोगी नरेंद्र मोदी
100.1 FM गोल्ड सहित आकाशवाणी के अन्य चैनलों पर शुक्रवार 17 सितंबर को सुबह 9:30 पर।
In our special series, Jan Jan Ki Baat, we shall bring out the quotes from the Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the ideas that have changed India over the past 20 years. Keeping in mind the small farmers in the country, the government has taken many agricultural reforms to benefit them. Prime Minister, in his Independence Day speech this year, said, collective power of the small farmers of the country has to be increased.
देश के 80% से ज्यादा किसान ऐसे हैं जिनके पास 2 हेक्टेयर से भी कम जमीन है। देश का किसान एक प्रकार से छोटा किसान है। पहले जो देश में नीतियां बनी, उनमें इन छोटे किसानों को जितनी प्राथमिकता देनी चाहिए, उन पर जितना ध्यान केंद्रित करना चाहिए था, वो रह गया। फसल बीमा योजना में सुधार हो, एमएसपी को 1.5 गुना करने का बड़ा महत्वपूर्ण निर्णय हो, छोटे किसानों को किसान क्रेडिट कार्ड से सस्ते दर से बैंक से कर्ज मिले की व्यवस्था हो, सोलर पावर से जुड़ी योजनाएं खेत तक पहुंचाने की बात हो, किसान उत्पादक संगठन हो, ये सारे प्रयास छोटे किसानों की ताकत बढ़ाएंगे।
President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu and Home Minister Amit Shah greeted Prime Minister Narendra Modi on his birthday today. In a tweet, the President wished him good health and said with a long life, he will continue to serve the nation with the spirit of Ahanish Seva Mein in service day and night.
In a tweet, the Vice President said the Prime Minister's exceptional vision, exemplary leadership and dedicated service have led to all-round growth of the nation. The Vice President prayed that he is blessed with a long, healthy and happy life ahead. Various programs are being organized across the country to mark the Prime Minister's birthday. Gujarat is celebrating the 71st birthday of Prime Minister Narendra Modi by organizing a series of events today. Yoga camps at 71 places, yajna and havans, tree plantation and blood donation camps have been organized across the state. The state BJP will celebrate this day as Seva Samarpan Abhiyan. Our Ahmedabad correspondent reports that the state government has planned a mega vaccination drive today.
Gujarat is celebrating the birthday of Prime Minister Narendra Modi in a unique way. The state is launching the mega vaccination drive today to cover 35 lakh beneficiaries. The state has set the target to complete 100% vaccination in 7,500 villages of the state. Nearly 6,000 villages have already completed 100% target in the first dose of vaccine. Meanwhile, Additional Chief Secretary of the Health Department Manoj Agrawal said that the state government is also launching a pilot project from today to provide health security to poor families in the state. He said that 100 centers with the team of expert doctors will be launched across the state near the laborers and poor people for free medical facilities. Yogesh Pandya, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
In Bihar, a mega COVID vaccination drive is being launched today to vaccinate 30 lakh people of the state on the occasion of Prime Minister's birthday. Chief Minister Nitish Kumar will launch this special vaccination drive. Health Minister Mangal Pandey said 14,000 vaccination centers have been set up across the state for the purpose. Over 4 crore 63 lakh people have so far been vaccinated in the state. Mr. Pandey said the state has set a target to take the number to 5 crore 50 lakh by the end of this month. Union Minister of State for Entrepreneurship, Skill Development, Electronics and Technology, Rajiv Chandrasekhar, will be on a 2-day visit to Nagaland starting from today. He will arrive in Kohima this morning. On his arrival, the minister will inaugurate the Software Technology Parks of India Centre at Kohima and distribute the Kaushal Acharya Award and thereafter an inspection visit to ITI Kohima. Later, he will attend a program celebrating Prime Minister Narendra Modi's birthday at the state BJP office. The visiting minister will also call on Chief Minister Nipur Roy. On the second day of his tour, Chandrasekhar will visit the Skill Upgradation Centre for Tribal Women under Sankalp and Handicraft Industry Cluster at Dimapur.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to virtually address the 21st meeting of SCO Council of Heads of State. Quad Leaders Summit to be held in Washington on the 24th of this month. Prime Minister Modi to take part in the first in-person event. Prime Minister Narendra Modi turns 71 today. Various programs being organized across the country to mark the occasion. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to chair the 45th meeting of the GST Council at 11 this morning in Lucknow. President Ramnath Kovind to address special session of Himachal Pradesh Legislative Assembly in Shimla today to mark the golden jubilee of statehood. Nagaland's first software technology park of India to be inaugurated today. Heavy rains lash Uttar Pradesh. Government orders closure of educational institutions today and tomorrow. 6 districts put on flood alert in Odisha. Many rivers including Mahanadi are in spate due to heavy rainfall across the state. And Hyderabad Liberation Day is being observed today to mark the historic accession of the princely state of Hyderabad into India. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
Welcome back to the morning news. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will chair the 45th meeting of the Goods and Services Tax GST Council at 11 this morning in Lucknow. This is the maiden physical meet of the GST Council since the outbreak of the COVID pandemic. Talking to AIR News, Union Minister of State for Finance, Pankaj Chaudhary, said that the finance ministers from all states will attend the meeting. Yesterday, the Fitment Committee discussed the issues in the presence of the Council. President Ramnath Kovind will address the special session of the Himachal Pradesh Legislative Assembly in Shimla today. President Ramnath Kovind will be the third president after APJ Abdul Kalam and Pranab Mukherjee to address the State Legislative Assembly. Our correspondent reports that all sitting and former MLAs and MPs from the state, including former chief ministers, have been invited to attend the special assembly session. The special session has been organized to mark the golden jubilee of statehood of Himachal Pradesh. More details on this from our Shimla correspondent.
Elaborate security arrangements have been made in Shimla city in view of the President's visit. The President will address a special session of the Legislative Assembly today to mark the Golden Jubilee of Himachal Pradesh statehood. Doordarshan and All India Radio will broadcast the President address live from the State Assembly. Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Singh Thakur has also reached Shimla to participate in the special session of the State Assembly. Sanjeev Sundaryal, AIR News, Shimla.
Hyderabad Liberation Day is being celebrated today to mark the historic accession of the princely state of Hyderabad into the Indian Union. Operation Polo, as the famous police action was codenamed, brought down the curtains on an oppressive Nizam's rule on this day in 1948. A report.
Even after India became independent, people of Hyderabad state had to wait for 13 more months to get freedom. Common people had to face difficulties during the period, and especially farmers resorted to armed struggle to protect their rights. It must be the only struggle in the world in which farmers took up arms for getting due rights over their lands. The unique struggle encompassed the fight against the Nizam and his feudal system, which ultimately turned into an armed campaign for land. The firm decision taken up by the then Home Minister Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel to initiate police action ultimately made the merger of Hyderabad state into the Indian Union a reality. This became possible only when the Indian Army took up the police action against the Nizam rule and his private army of Razakars for 5 days. At the end of the operation, the last Nizam of the Asaf Jah dynasty, Mir Usman Ali Khan, announced a ceasefire on this day in 1948. Lakshmi, AIR News, Hyderabad.
However, several programs are being lined up in Hyderabad and other parts of Telangana, which is a part of the then Hyderabad state. Union Home Minister Amit Shah will be addressing a public meeting on the occasion scheduled this afternoon at Nirmal town. As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events are being organized by the government as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Let's listen now to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News, Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
Today we bring you a profile of the great freedom fighter and social activist E.V. Ramasamy, popularly known as Periyar. He was born on 17 September 1879 in Erode in the erstwhile Madras Presidency. Periyar was a rationalist, prolific writer and orator who could communicate with all sections of society effectively. He mobilized people from all walks of life to fight against the British.
In 1919, he joined the Congress under the influence of his close friend C. Rajagopalachari. He was jailed for participating in the non-cooperation movement. Periyar resigned from all the 29 public positions held by him in order to join the freedom movement. He also gave up the family trade and closed the business concern, which was earning 20,000 rupees annually in those days when the price of a single gold sovereign was not even 10 rupees. Periyar rigorously fought for issues related to khadi. Periyar wore khadi clothes himself and encouraged his family to wear as well. He was given a jail sentence for his propagation for khadi and boycott of British goods. Periyar admired Bhagat Singh's political views. Hailing the sacrifice of Bhagat Singh through an editorial in his journal Kudiyarasu on March 29, 1931, he wrote that Bhagat Singh gave his life for the noble cause of showing to India, nay, to the world, the real equality and peace.
Periyar fought for the progress of women and questioned gender inequality prevalent in society. He also fought against child marriage and advocated widow remarriage.
உங்களை காப்பாற்றிக்க உங்களுக்கு சக்தி வேணும். இன்னொருத்தன் வீட்டுல போட்டு பூட்டுறது போல அடிமைத்தனம் வேற இல்லை. அந்த காரணத்தினாலே தான் பொம்பளைகளுக்கு இவ்வளவு கெட்ட பேர் எல்லாம் வர்றதுக்கு ஏற்பட்டது. நம்ம நாடு என்னைக்கு பெண்கள் நிலைமை உயர்ந்தோ அன்னைக்கு தான் ஆம்பளைக்கு என்ன கேடு, அவன் எப்படியோ போறான், அதை பற்றி நமக்கு என்ன கவலை.
He encouraged women to actively take part in social movements and politics. He passed away at the age of 97. Periyar tirelessly worked for women's education and raised the issue of 50% reservation for them in all sectors. A staunch believer in gender equality, Periyar is also known as the father of Dravidian movement.
It was on this day in 1940 a great freedom fighter and social reformer, Vinoba Bhave, offered to be the first individual satyagrahi of India's freedom movement. Gandhiji had decided to launch individual satyagraha by which select individuals were to declare publicly that it was wrong to help the British during the Second World War. As a matter of fact, the then Viceroy Linlithgow, without consulting the elected provincial governments of India, declared India at war with Germany on 3rd September 1939. The Indian National Congress objected to it very strongly. Gandhiji was of the opinion that the only worthy effort was to resist the war non-violently. It was left to him to choose the satyagrahis. Vinoba Bhave was the first to offer satyagraha on 17 September 1940 at Wardha. As a consequence of his individual satyagraha, he was jailed thrice during 1940 to 41.
In 1958, Bhave received the first Ramon Magsaysay Award for community leadership for his dedication for the propagation of a new kind of social revolution in India. In 1982, Bhave fell extremely ill and stopped taking food and medicines. He died on 15th November 1982. A year later, he was honored with India's highest civilian award, the Bharat Ratna.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
In Madhya Pradesh, a series of events are being organized in the memory of tribal martyr kings Shankar Shah and Kuvar Raghunath Shah. Union Home Minister Amit Shah will also attend these programs. Under the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, various programs are being held in Jabalpur from the day of their arrest to the day of martyrdom. More details from our Jabalpur correspondent.
King Shankar Shah and his son Kuvar Raghunath Shah of the Gondwana kingdom were sacrificed by blowing from a gun in the first war of independence of 1857 due to revolt against British rule. The important fact is that the punishment was chosen by King Shankar Shah himself. This was the first sacrifice made by any royal family in the whole country. Various programs are being organized daily from 14 to 18 September to make the new generation aware of the sacrifice of the martyrs due. Union Home Minister Amit Shah will address more than 3,000 tribal people at Jabalpur in the pride ceremony of tribal heroes organized on 18 September, the sacrifice day of the King Shankar Shah and Kuvar Raghunath Shah. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Jabalpur.
The Orissa government has put 6 districts on alert, apprehending a low to medium flood in the Mahanadi river system. Many of the rivers, including the Mahanadi, are in spate due to the recent depression-induced heavy rainfall across the state. More details from our Bhubaneswar correspondent.
The state government has made elaborate arrangements to tackle any flood situation should that arise in districts like Cuttack, Puri, Baleshwar, Bhadrak, Jajpur and Kendrapada. As many as 30 NGRF and 12 ODRAF teams have been stationed at vulnerable points across these districts for rescue and relief operations. Meanwhile, Hirakud Dam, the largest one on River Mahanadi, had swollen to about 628 feet against its full storage capacity of 630 feet. That toll due to rain in the state has risen to 7, the causes being wall collapse and drowning. Girish Chandra Das, AIR News, Bhubaneswar.
Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has appealed to the people of the state to remain cautious in the wake of the heavy rains. The Chief Minister has directed all district magistrates and commissioners to intensify the rescue and relief operations and instructed them to take stock of the damage in the fields due to the rain. Many parts of Uttar Pradesh are experiencing heavy rains for the last 36 hours. Normal life has been thrown out of gear due to the incessant rain. Our Lucknow correspondent reports that educational institutions in the state are closed for today and tomorrow. Road, rail and air traffic are also affected due to the heavy rain.
More than 40 districts, including state capital Lucknow, are witnessing torrential rain with gusty winds. Many parts of the city are waterlogged and people residing in low-lying areas are facing more difficulty. Rainwater entered into houses in many colonies and power supply disrupted badly. District Magistrate and Police Commissionerate of Lucknow have advised people to not to go outside unless it is very important. Administration has issued helpline numbers for the people in distress. J.P. Gupta, the Director of Meteorological Department in Lucknow, said that the present condition will continue for next 2 days. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
And now let us take a look at the weather update for today. The national capital Delhi will have generally cloudy sky with light rain or thunder showers. Mumbai will have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Kolkata will also have generally cloudy sky with few spells of rain. Chennai, the temperatures will vary between 26 and 36 degrees Celsius. Bengaluru, the temperatures will hover between 21 and 29 degrees Celsius. Hyderabad is expected to have generally cloudy sky with light rain. Thiruvananthapuram will also have generally cloudy sky with few spells of rain. Guwahati, the minimum temperature was around 26 degrees, maximum will be around 33 degrees. Imphal will have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Shillong again will have generally cloudy sky with few spells of rain. Aizawl will have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Kohima will have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Itanagar, the temperatures will hover between 21 and 30 degrees Celsius.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Most newspapers today lead with a call to uphold the freedom of the fourth pillar of democracy, the media. In a move to resolve bad loans, government gives rupees 30,600 crores guarantee to set up bad bank, states the Asian Age. Giving a chance to first-time MLAs, the Times of India leads with Clarion Cull. 24 new faces replace the entire Gujarat cabinet. Reporting on the change in guard, Kohli to step down as T20 captain after World Cup, Rohit set to take over, writes the Statesman. To restrict the issuance of passport to government employees against whom vigilance cases are pending, J&K government employees face tighter passport rules, informs the Hindu. Highlighting a shift in preferences, over 20 million Indians streaming YouTube on TV, informs the Financial Express. And finally, in a bid to contribute to the Namami Gange mission, gifts given to Modi to go under the hammer, writes the Pioneer.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to virtually address the 21st meeting of SCO Council of Heads of State. Quad Leaders Summit to be held in Washington on the 24th of this month. Prime Minister Modi to take part in the first in-person event. Prime Minister Narendra Modi turns 71 today. Various programs are organized across the country to mark the occasion. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to chair 45th meeting of the GST Council at 11 this morning in Lucknow. President Ramnath Kovind to address special session of Himachal Pradesh Legislative Assembly in Shimla today. Nagaland's first software technology park of India to be inaugurated today. Heavy rains lash Uttar Pradesh. Government orders closure of educational institutions today and tomorrow. 6 districts put on flood alert in Orissa. Many rivers including Mahanadi in spate due to heavy rainfall across the state. And with that we end the morning news. Have a nice day.